Welcome to FO Talks. Today we welcome Dr. Alix Willemez. So welcome, Alix. Please introduce yourself briefly for our audience.
Hi, Roberta. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. So indeed, I'm Dr. Alix Willemez. I'm a specialist in the law of the sea, and I'm very glad to be here with you today.
That's wonderful. I was wondering, who owns the ocean? That's one question. And then why is it so important for us?
It's very important, the ocean. It's not only for the people who go once per year to the beach. It really touches everyone on the planet, because first I would like to mention that half of the oxygen that we breathe is produced by the ocean, by a microscopic organism called phytoplankton. Then the ocean also brings us food and agriculture. And this is something like it's hard to understand, but the heat that is produced on the planet is absorbed by the ocean, and then it flattens it into its currents, and then it produces nice weather for agriculture to grow, for a farm to grow. And without the current and without the ocean, actually the weather would have like big peaks of heat and then like cold, and it will not be smooth. So without the ocean,
Mars.
Sorry?
It would be like Mars.
It would be terrible. So it's so the ocean also brings us farming, and also what we're doing right now is actually goes through the ocean, because 95% of the cables go under the sea. So basically, this digital
cables, internet communication cables.
Wow. Internet and communication. So basically, this digital world that we live in is physically under the ocean. 95% of the cables are under the ocean. And through that, there goes internet, banking, streaming, all your messages. So without the ocean, we will not be speaking today. And of course, there are all other things, because almost 90% of the shopping goes through shipping lanes. So basically, whatever you buy comes from a ship that goes on the ocean. So this is something we forget. And also now we have more and more energy through offshore wind farms, tidal energy that is produced by the ocean and is brought to us by also an electricity cable. So I think most of people forget how important the ocean is, because we did not tell them, simply. So this is why it's so
let's tell them. Let's tell them how important it is, and explain us. Please tell us a bit of the history of how we came to, I don't know, organize and manage. There is this thing that no one knows about, the law of the sea, unless you travel and work on it.
Yeah, it sounds very boring, isn't it? The law of the sea, but I like it. It's so much fun. So let's start by
pirates.
I wrote a master's thesis on pirates, but the real pirates in Somali. That was very interesting. I will not say a lot of fun, but it was very interesting indeed. So I'd like to start by saying that for a long time, countries and states didn't know how to regulate the ocean. So they used a very simple rule. It's they could protect their shore to the distance that a cannonball could travel. Basically, that's 3 nautical miles. So basically, they can shoot a cannonball. If you're hit, you're in their waters. If you're not hit, you're not in their waters. Technology...
It's not very far, anyway.
It's not very far.
No.
It's not very far. And technology defined borders, basically. And it defined laws. But little by little, the ships became larger, and therefore the states could travel further. And they also discovered new marine resources that they didn't know about. And so they started thinking, well, 3 nautical miles is quite tiny, isn't it? So we need to think of new rules. And here comes a man that maybe some of you have heard about. He's called Grotius, he was Dutch. He was a diplomat, a lawyer, like a writer. He did so many things in his life. So go check him out. And he was working for the Dutch East India Company. So at the time, this big company was not just a company. It was mostly like naval power, state corporation. It was a mix. So it could basically sign treaties, manage trade routes, and even declare wars. So it was more than a company. It was really like something big. And Grotius worked with them. And the main problem of this company was that at that time, Portugal and Spain were really trying to take control over a large piece of the Asian seas because they wanted to control the trade routes. And Portugal and Spain, sometimes they said, okay, this sea and this sea route is ours. And they unilaterally decided this belongs to them. So Grotius wrote a book called Of the Freedom of the Sea. And he said, wait a second, you guys, let's not do this. And let's not make some parts of the ocean private as we did on land. The ocean belongs to everyone, and we need to keep this freedom of the sea. And this was gradually accepted. But then we came to, then states started to think we need to have a better legislation for this. And it took a long time. And it's only in 1982, so almost
Yes, Grotius was what, the 17th century?
It was so he was born 1583, something like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, a long time ago. So it took us a long time to have more legislation in place. And so the main one we have today is called the UNCLOS. So it's UN Law of the Sea. Basically, it was decided in 1982. And at the time, the knowledge of the ocean was not as big as it is today, but the concerns were more about who owns the ocean and how can we extract as much fish as possible? How can we extract as much oil as possible? So we need to be able to manage the claims of the different states. And so UNCLOS territorial. You need to cut this out. Territorialize the sea.
And that's what Grotius didn't want to do, right?
That's exactly what Grotius didn't want to do. But in UNCLOS, they kept some part of the Grotius spirit. So we still have freedom of navigation. We can still have our ships going almost anywhere on the planet. Freedom to lay cables, and also freedom of scientific research. This is still what is available in international legislation.
For now, it's untouchable.
It's what exists today. So now the three main parts that UNCLOS created is, so we have territorial seas, which are up to 12 nautical miles.
Okay.
So remember, we had the cannon shot rule, which was 3 nautical miles, and now we extended 4 times more, so 12 nautical miles, where the state can basically do whatever he wants, basically. It's his sea, like it's his land. And then going further, from 12 to 200 nautical miles is the exclusive economic zone, EEZ. And there, basically, the state cannot prevent other ships to go or planes to overfly. It's just, he has a right over the economic resources, so fisheries and oil and gas. And then the third part are the continental shelves rights. So basically, it's the right of the state over the bottom of the ocean. But presently, there are more and more discoveries that allow us to see that at the bottom, there are some deep sea minerals that can be used to create phones, electronics, computers,
The famous rare minerals.
Indeed. So now people said, okay, we need to grab this, and that's why another important treaty has been drafted recently. It's called the IC Treaty, so BBNJ, Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction, because we realize that almost half of the planet is IC. And they are not regulated by UNCLOS. Anybody can do whatever they want in it. So a country can go and extract all the minerals you can see, you can find, or
so that's
or
the
use.
poles.
Sorry?
And the poles, both poles.
No, everywhere across the planet.
High sea. Sorry.
High seas. Like
yes.
Half of the planet is high seas.
Okay.
So a country could go there, pollute, destroy, do whatever he wanted. It was not regulated. And the state of the science became so that we discovered that in those high seas, we have genetic resources that can be used, for example, to cure cancer or to make medicine. So now states decided we need to protect this area because a single country cannot just go and extract whatever he wants and make a cure for malaria and just get all the money. Poor countries say this is not right because this belongs to the commons, and the country cannot just extract it. Like wealthy powers cannot just extract it and do whatever he wants with it. And so a new treaty has been drafted. It's called Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction, the High Sea Treaty. And the High Sea Treaty has been adopted in January 2026. And now more and more countries are ratifying it and agreeing that this should be implemented.
So they integrated in their national law.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So about this new deep sea biodiversity treaty, or biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction, I believe it's called, or High Seas Treaty. How many countries are joining in? How is it going?
145 countries have signed the treaty. It means they support it politically. And today, 89 countries have ratified it. That means they agree that this country is legally binding for their country. So it starts being a lot. And on this side, there is also a moratorium on deep sea mining. More and more countries agree that we should halt deep sea mining because we don't have the sufficient scientific knowledge to go and dig. It is because every day scientific discover new species in the deep sea. And the knowledge of the deep sea has increased since the 1980s when UNCLOS was decided. So parallelly, we have this advancement in international ocean law. But the problem also today is that the law of the sea is extremely complex. There is not one single organization that manages the ocean, but hundreds of organizations. So for example, shipping, you have the International Maritime Organization, which is based in London, IMO. For deep sea mining, you have the International Seabed Authority, which is based in Jamaica. It's based in Jamaica because UNCLOS was signed in Jamaica. So the law of the sea from 1982 was signed in Jamaica. And then you have different regional biodiversity organization, regional fisheries organization, and it's too much. So the law of the ocean really works in silos at the moment. But since the scientists discovered how important the ocean is for the climate, how important it is for the air we breathe, for all the biodiversity that is under the sea that we didn't know about, now more and more countries are thinking we need to have a global governance for the ocean. And soon there will be a a meeting to discuss this, how we create one single international governance for the ocean.
So, if I understand, most countries are agreeing that we should protect the bottom of the sea.
Yes.
And in general, high seas should be protected because they are a very valuable resource for the planet, for humanity, etc.
Exactly.
There is soon to be a new meeting to discuss how to do this. So which countries are taking part and which countries are not taking part? So are the big actors taking part in it?
Yes. So for first, we should mention that the US, which has one of the biggest maritime zone in the world, has signed UNCLOS but has not ratified it.
Okay.
And so he did not say it's legally binding for his country. And now the two main players, of course, in deep sea minings are US and China, because they have a lot of mines, and they both signed the BBNJ agreement, the High Sea Treaty, but they have not ratified it. So there are some concern about who is willing to respect the authority of the ISA, the International Seabed Authority based in Jamaica, and who wants to take the lead without respecting international law on this.
Yes, and then how can it be enforced if someone is not respecting it?
It's hard now to enforce it. That's the problem. But
yeah.
No.
So there should be like a shift in countries and people that manage these things to realize that we should all take responsibility.
Yes, but more and more countries are moving towards this responsibility. When I wrote my PhD on this 10 years ago, basically the main motto was let's go, let's dig and let's extract, because we need those minerals are extremely important for our economies. And now everybody's like, whoop, 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 whoop. Wait a second, we don't even know what there. We might destroy a whole ecosystems we don't know about. We know Mars way more than we know the bottom of our seas.
Oh wow, that's
so we need to know our planet. This is really like the last frontier in exploration.
Can we send like the little machines, the rovers that they send on other planets? Can we send them?
We do have submarine rovers, yeah, but it's also very complicated because you need them to stand the pressure, stand the salinity. It's not so easy, and the cables. It's quite a hard job for the rovers.
That there is life down there.
There is life that even functions without oxygen, with a level of pressure that is incommensurable. So every day scientists discovered weird animals that you could basically believe are from an alien movie, basically.
No need to go on other planets then.
No.
We have a lot to discover. We still have a lot to discover.
Exactly.
So tell us about all these treaties and complicated law. How does it apply in specific places which have come to the foreground of the news lately? We can begin maybe with the Strait of Hormuz that everyone has heard about, and move on to other places where this law and these complications play out and have direct, visible consequences.
Sure. So the Strait of Hormuz is a very sensitive choke point in maritime traffic, as you know, because most of the energy, oil, gas, and LNG, so liquefied natural gas, come from UAE or Iraq, Iran, and they come through this corridor, which is extremely thin. It's like, I think, 23 miles wide, and the shipping lanes with it are even smaller. Maybe we can find a picture.
Because there is 12 miles on one side and 12 miles on the other side. So it belongs to the countries on both sides. Does it?
It's an international corridor.
Okay. So it has
But
a special situation in
it
the
has a
law.
special situation indeed, because it's considered as an international corridor. So basically every country, so it's governed by UNCLOS first, and it's here there is freedom of passage. So ships are allowed to go through this corridor, and that's the problem. That's the law is everybody is allowed to go through this global corridor, but the reality is countries need to implement this freedom. So if a country suddenly says, I don't want ships to go through this passage anymore, then we have a problem of implementation of international law. And that's exactly what Iran is doing right now by basically what they're doing is they're increasing the price of insurance, because ships, which first ships are valuable, and their content is what they bring is even more valuable. So it can go up to like millions of dollars in one ship. Remember that 90% of the global trade goes on by shipping. So everything we buy in any of the shop goes on the ships. So the when Iran wants to block the passage, it simply increases the price of insurance by saying we have mines there that might explode on one ship, or we have drones that may attack any of these containers.
Okay, so it's
and basically nobody wants to go there anymore.
Alix, how is the situation this late in this last couple of weeks or these days in around the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf?
So there is a double blockade. First, Iran is trying to block any country that it feels is hostile to it. So it raises the price of insurance with drones and mines. And the US is also blockading and trying to block any Iranian oil export out of the country to make sure that Iran cannot use the Strait of Hormuz as an economic leverage in its war.
Excellent. Are there, so I guess there are many other straits around the world that are not having a blockade, but they still have their own peculiarities.
Exactly. There are three other places in the world that are important. So the first one is the Strait of Malacca, because most of the electronic supply goes to Asia through this point. So if it's blocked, basically the whole economy of the world will be halted, because Asia wouldn't have enough electronic supply. And the Strait of Malacca is only jointly managed by Malaysia and Singapore and Indonesia jointly. So we have the Strait of Malacca, and then we have two other canals that are very famous. The first one is Suez Canal, which has been created by Egypt. So they basically digged the earth, the soil, removed it, and make water pass through it. And before that, ships had to go all across Africa.
Around Africa.
Around Africa, and go through South Africa and then shore. So with this canal, the trade between Europe, Asia, and Africa was increased.
Yes.
But the problem is, this is not managed by UNCLOS. This is managed by a treaty, the 1888 Constantinople Treaty. And the canal is a state power. So Egypt manages it. And then we have the Panama Canal, which was helped being created by the US when Panama became free from Colombia, I think, and in 1903. And now it's managed only by Panama. But this canal is completely man-made, and basically it depends on fresh water from the country. because there is a system of passageways and that goes with fresh water brought from the state, the inland countries.
Okay.
And when there is a drought, like this happened, there is no passage in the canal. And this increases the price of goods because they are blocked and they cannot enter.
Yes.
And this has a real impact on economy. So all those three, those four, so Canal of Suez, Canal of Panama, Malacca Strait and Hormuz Strait are very important choke points for the whole global system.
I believe that the right term is the law of the seas. It sounds fascinating, complicated, and what are the main gaps, in your opinion? The main complications?
So there is one gap that is being addressed right now, and it's that the law of the sea is not longer considered as one technical entry point. The ocean is more and more considered as an ecosystem that needs to be globally protected, rather than just, a place where we apply our authority. And the biggest example is that now with the BBNJ, it will be possible for countries to create marine protected areas in the high seas.
Oh, that's
very good, especially because we understood the importance of some marine species like phytoplankton, whales, for the whole biodiversity of the ocean and the oxygen creation and everything. And so if countries now can protect a migratory species along its way, it means let's take, for example, a turtle. Turtle lays egg was born in a Costa Rica beach and is protected along the way back to Australia, where it lives. And it means we can protect this species in a global environment, not just, in some state protected areas.
okay.
So this is the biggest change that will happen soon. And I cannot wait for it. And the fact that we think of the ocean as an ecosystem is a real progress. And that the law is changing constantly. So it's very exciting place to be at the moment.
So we can speak again after this great meeting.
Yes.
And end on a positive note.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure great things will happen because now we tend to have a more systemic view of the world rather than a silo view. So
yes,
it's very exciting.
We'll speak about this next time.
Yeah, it will be a pleasure.
Looking forward. Thank you.
Bye.
Join the conversation at Fair Observer and subscribe to our YouTube channel.